लड़की की तुम्हें क्या सुनाऊं दास्तां एक लड़की की तुम्हें क्या सुनाऊं दास्तां वो पगली है सबसे जुदा हर पल नई उसकी अदा फूल बरसे लोग तरसे जाए वो लड़की जहां एक लड़की की तुम्हें क्या सुनाऊं दास्तां एक लड़की की तुम्हें क्या सुनाऊं दास्तां.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the pleasure of hosting a multifaceted personality whose journey spans from the glitz of Bollywood to the boardrooms of successful enterprises. You might remember her as the charming Anjali from Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi Hai or the courageous Kalki from Matrubhumi. Beyond her cinematic endeavors, she's a passionate yogini and a thriving entrepreneur. Let's welcome the talented and versatile Tulip Joshi.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, pleasure is all ours. Welcome to ITV Gold. Tell me what brings you to US and New Jersey.
Well, I have these amazing friends, Janak and Rashmi, who are they're like family to me, and it's wonderful being a part of their events. Supporting them. They do this amazing job of empowering women and promoting them, and that's why I visit US often to meet them and to help support their beautiful pageants that they have and these lovely events, and and I get to meet beautiful people from our diaspora, which is so nice. Coming from India and like living here and then meeting them, it's nice interacting with them.
When you say empowering women, do you think women in today's age and time, especially in this part of the world, need to be empowered? Aren't they empowered already?
I think, you know what, yeah, for sure, women are strong, and it's not about needing, but it's just, it's just nice supporting and speaking things. It's not like they are down. It's just like saying, hey, it could be for men, it could be for women. So being a woman, I think it's nice cheering for them. And just, we need to remind ourselves, we forget how beautiful we are, and I think we all are it. It's not about, winning a pageant or getting a particular package or money. It's about bringing out the best in you, and it's when you just tell each other that, hey, you're beautiful. So that's empowering. Supporting each other emotionally, and that's it. Yeah, and sharing what a person, let's say I share a little bit about me, my journey, and then I like to listen to what people like their journey, and then sometimes things resonate, and it's just nice to know what's happening, and somewhere down the line it inspires you to do things.
Let's talk about your journey. You've done a lot of films. Mere Yaar Ki Shaadi Hai. Talk about that. How did that happen?
So basically, I was modeling. I was a part of the Miss India pageant, and I was called the Space Cadet because I was so lost and I was a child. And we were starving, and I remember like sometimes when no one was watching, I used to quietly go and start like stuffing my face. I mean, it's hilarious now, but back then it was like there was so much pressure, and oh my God, about like not eating and looking a certain kind. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and
you were anorexic at that time?
I wasn't anorexic, but you know what? You're like I used to change my diet every day. So sometimes my friends, like I used to go to my friend's house. They used to not even what would they offer me? They don't know because they're confused, because every day I used to be on a different diet. So I was like, God. I had lost my mind. So it's funny, but then you realize you got to take control and all of that, and finally I sorted that part. But having said that, after Miss India, I got some nice modeling assignments, and that was fun because I was just 21 and getting nice, like, and I used to enjoy modeling. I think modeling was fun, especially ad films was great, and I was like, okay, this is amazing. And then I went for a wedding, my sister's friend's wedding, and that's when Yashji was around, and it was his son's wedding, and they spotted me and they invited me to be a part of their film. And I was like, yeah, for sure. So that's how the journey started. It was wonderful. I've worked with. I've not done too many films. I've done 17 films in all. I've enjoyed most of them. Sometimes they've been stressful. Sometimes, obviously, any kind of job does that. Matrabhumi was a very special film because, like, I understood a lot about the international cinema. Like, I went for the Venice Film Festival, the Toronto Film Festival, and I was like, okay, this is what it is. It was interesting, and getting appreciation, and I got a standing ovation in Venice, and that was that was so nice, because it's not because, oh, okay, they know me or something. It's that, hey, you performed so well. So it was encouraging. And I still was a kid, but I was enjoying all of that, meeting people, understanding things. Somewhere down the line, I was always searching for something else. There was some kind of discomfort that I've always had. And I didn't know what it was. And then, because, there are times, like, you become like someone else. Like, you don't realize when people say, okay, you should do this, and then you start listening to people. So I actually lost myself. I didn't
You
really
became like another character in the films and not you.
I didn't know, like, it's like, okay, this is a project, and that's what it was all about. Okay, what's the next? It's not about living your life or who you are. It was just, okay, what's the project? Oh, this one is saying that, oh no, you have to get these things sorted in your life, and you have to go with this class, you have to wear, you cannot repeat your clothes. So I was like, okay.
I'm looking at you, you wearing like a jacket, not even like a dress or something that will show your neckline and all that. You are so comfortable in your skin, I would say that. How did this transformation come about you, that you became like, this is me, this is how I embrace myself? And I see you, I have to point that out. I see grays in your hair. I think that's a conscious choice to stop coloring or stop advocating about the beauty products or the beauty treatments. How did that happen?
So, like, going back to, when I was searching for myself and I was like, what the hell's going on? I delved into Vedic sciences in 2005. And that's a part of me, like, that's who I am. I was like, I needed something, I needed grounding, what the hell's going on? And then, so I used to work, but at the same time get switched off. And as and when, it's not a certification that, oh, you do this and then you get certified, or this is like a to-do list. It's an ongoing process.
Okay.
So I started getting more and more into it, and then I believe when you get more in touch with yourself and you realize, because I always tell people, like, spiritual is it's the subtle form of material. So my focus is more on, other aspects. So then the material, you don't look at as much, like, then you start looking at things differently. There's no, you start, how do I say? So it's like, you're finding the voice, for example. So, like, my friends ask me, how do you know what that voice is? Because maybe I said, yeah, because sometimes my lust tells me to have this piece of cake, but I know it's not good for me. So it's very hard to know, like, hey, this is not good for you, that's not good for you. Cutting that short, so then you reach a point where you realize that this is who I am, and then even a part of the grays, I love it. At times when I click photographs, you can't see it. I'm like, okay, now finally I think I can see it. And I think it's amazing. So I've embraced it, and I'm not trying to prove a point. I'm just enjoying it. I'm just enjoying being myself. And I think a lot of things stems from insecurity, like, in general. I feel if people who really love you, they're going to accept you for who you are. And if they are not, then they are not worth being in your life. So those are my thoughts, and that's why I just enjoy, even, like, I love being in Vancouver, because I have found myself, and it's been a year and a half, almost. It's going to be it's a year and a half since I got diagnosed with ADHD.
Oh.
So that's again the space cadet part. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, and it allows me to hyper focus, so I get obsessed with a subject. So that's why I know like Sanatan Dharma and Jyotish, I'm like at it. Or if I do something,
When
it's
you
like
get
100
obsessed with something that is like आपके ऊपर शनि भारी है, do you like
No, you know what? I'll tell
No.
you very honestly, because there's so much of like things floating around about astrology, which people live off fear. Like they're like they feed fear, and it's all
yeah,
fear
look
based.
at the Instagram reels, they're like all filled with that.
It's
How
not
do you
about
fight that, and how do you know like what you are doing is the right thing?
you know what like it. You just got to follow your voice. You got to know, and you got to be true to yourself. I'm not saying I'm right. This is right for me. It could not make sense to someone else. And I also believe, like again, when you're saying Shani, and or people talk about star sign, they're like, okay, I am Gemini. Tell me. I'm like, we are all the signs, all 12 signs. It's not you're not just one. Which part of your body or which aspect of your life are you one of those 12 signs? Like your sun sign, when you were born, is where the sun was placed when you were born. The moon sign is where the moon was placed. So you have your other planets placed in different zodiac signs. So the science is there, but to interpret it, it's different. And when I do readings, it's personalized, it's not general, because a person like a Shani, like people are manifestations of planets. And in relationships, I believe, someone can be a mother, but it can be a child through the chart. So it's a little complex. So that's how I read it, and with due respect, people read it differently, but this works for me and for the people I help.
And what else do you do in Vancouver?
I enjoy going on hikes. I love going on hikes. So I work a little bit. I go for a walk or a hike, depends. I enjoy life. I do a lot of yoga. Like I practice yoga every day.
You have a YouTube channel also for that.
I have I have a channel, but I haven't released many videos on. I share the philosophy. Like I have three or probably a couple videos that I've shared. For the recent ones were on Mahashivratri, and it's not about yoga poses. It's about again the festivals, why we celebrate it. There's another reason for it. And when I was a kid, I used to want like, hey, I'm looking for that book, or where do I find the right answers? So I said, you know what, let me find the answers. So that's something that I'm working on, that it takes a while, and that's my legacy I want to leave behind, like the content, because that's something I want to share, that this is what I believe in. And for people who are searching, like that's my truth. And so it's like there are things that I know, there are a lot of things I don't know. There are some things I feel, but I need to still articulate to be able to share it, because like when you go to a doc and they may explain to you about your health in fancy words, but you want to know in your language, right? So that's what I love.
Google search.
Yeah, but Google sometimes just takes you to another direction, so it's very hard.
You end up with knowing that everything ends up in you having cancer.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you have the fine print, or you have this, but if you have this will happen. And again, like now talking about like if you have this, like Ayurveda is so amazing, it's so powerful, that I love sharing whatever I know with my people, because I believe one size doesn't fit all. So we got to understand what we are made of, and stop following the fads like, oh, this crash diet, or this again diet, because I've been obsessed. So I understand what people go through. Yeah, with the self-confidence and other kind of struggles.
People move to India, or they travel to India to find themselves, but you went to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Why and how?
I wanted a quieter place. It was too much noise, and then now I understand with the ADHD. Like I was like, it was too much for my senses. And you know what? Honestly, my stars took me there, because we think that we decide. It's like the spider spinning the web, spinning the web. So when it's time, things just happen, and that's what I believe. That's the difference between destiny and free will. right? Because destiny takes you, but free will is how you deal with the situations. It's going to happen, but how you deal with it will because your life is in your mind. You know, it's we are doing similar chores, but how we react to heartbreaks or to happiness or to whatever, it's all limited, right? So that's what I believe.
So no more lure of Bollywood or the Yash Raj films, and I really want to know like what conversations you would have with Yash ji, and how did it kind of shape you into a better person or a better actor?
You know, Yashi, oh my God, he was so special, and he was such a humble human being. That's the first thing I learned, humility. He was so humble, and I remember when I was like again doing my starving diet, and we had gone to Jaipur, and we went to this beautiful place called Chowkidani. It's like a lovely
Yes.
fair, and people are enjoying like amazing Rajasthani food. And I was like, I'm not having, and he forced me to have jalebi and milk, and it was so delicious. I was like enjoying it. I'm like, he's my producer, so I'm forgiven. So let me enjoy it. So and yeah, I've enjoyed like they used to, I used to be a part of the festivals like they used to celebrate, and it was fun. It was fun knowing them, interacting with them, and unfortunately he's no more. But and of course the films that he's shot, wow. And so that's that, and so I'll not say I am not saying I've stopped because normally the press or people assume and they create stories about you, which is not true, because I've never said no. Like when things happen. I will film tomorrow.
Right.
I'm not filming today, but tomorrow something will turn out. Let's see. Yeah.
And you're an artist also now. What do you create?
So ever since I discovered with the ADHD, and then I realized that, and then when I took my meds, I there was something in me, and I started creating art. So I do like on canvas. I do canvas art, and with acrylic colors. I also do mixed media. So I love doing digital. I mix it with photographs. And AI sometimes, because sometimes you don't want to spend that money and go to location, so you get that. But then the prompts are important, because sometimes I've kept some of the images that are hilarious because the prompts have to be so right. So
Give us an example, like being a prompt engineer, I would say you are.
so I like for instance, like I'm fascinated with our mythology or history, and there was one character I can't remember. I was giving a prompt, and I think it was Narsimha, or because I love creating all Vishnu avatars. So it was something, and he was supposed to be terrified of one of Vishnu's avatars. And so instead of fear, so he stood like, it's so funny, he's like, oh, he's scared, like, with his fingers. So I'm like, that is hilarious. And I still have that image with me, but I don't remember the scene. So, you have these cartoonish, funny images, and oh my God. So it's a fun process. I think creating, I love being creative. I write as well. Like whatever I put up, I upload, I write it myself. I've also written a short film, which I recently, and I hope to film it at some point soon.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's an extension. It's not about art. It's an excuse. It could be a film. It could be acting. Just living in the moment. Enjoying what is.
Spiritually, who are you inclined to? Are there some books that you read or something on self-help that you listen to?
So it's a process, right? I have my guru who, like, I from the beginning. At the same time, it's about what you're directed to. At this point in my journey, I'm deciphering the Vedas and the Mahapurans.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
that's
that's
deep.
Yeah, I that's where I am right now at this point.
How is it coming along?
It's empowering. It's so beautiful. Like my friends laugh at me because I wake up before 3 a.m. and I
Brahm
sit down
Muhurat
with
se
them.
pehle.
Yeah, and it is amazing.
Yeah.
And because there's quiet, and because before you start interacting with whether it's social like people around, then you have that time to yourself. So there are times that the same thing I've read 20 years ago, what's coming to me is different. And sometimes it's like, oh, I'm trying to get something, nothing happens. And then I'm lying down or I'm playing volleyball on the beach and I'm like, epiphany, okay, this is what that meant.
Wow.
So it's a process. Even when I do readings for people, all of a sudden I think of someone and I text them because it just comes to me. It's interesting because when you're still, I believe, is when downloads happen. But when you're always like looking, it's not going to happen. But and again, deciphering Sanskrit is fascinating because it's it depends. It's subjective. It's what it says, and what's given is completely different to what I understand it. So you got to know like, the context and where you're applying it and for what. So it's fun. And it's I love research and contemplation.
So when you do readings, you know somebody's past, present, future?
So it depends. Like if they want to do a general reading, yeah. So what I like to do is, if you're doing a reading, then it's about knowing who you are, right? The relationship with yourself. So I like to see the main things are like your planets, because we all comprise planets, which are your friendly planets, which are afflicted, because we all have some of it. And because that helps, because then I also have these dates that are etched out, and I give the dates, the pivotal dates and phases. So those, so one can understand which are your not so good days. And it's not about fear, because it's not about, oh my God, it's about if it's raining, you just wear a jacket and go. So I know the days I'm not going to be the best. I tell my people around, please excuse me if I say something, it's not my best day, or then I avoid even speaking to them, because I know that sometimes it's beyond us. Of course, you can say become stronger, but it's okay to be weak. That's fine.
Yeah,
You don't have to be strong always. You can just let go and make mistakes. That's fine. So the dates and the planets are important. Then I feel like what I also see is a person's health through the chart. What chronic issues a person has. I'm not like here to give medical advice, but it's interesting to know what diet one can follow to pacify the doshas in the body, and then the breathing and the yoga postures. Because again, breathing, it's like my ego used to like my ego was so like it was like I used to feel that I can cross 100 salutations, and it boosts my ego, but it's not good for me. Because if I do that, I'm invoking excess sun, which harms me, and I get anger issues, and I'm not an angry person. So you got to know, like, you got to be mindful with what postures you do. If I'm doing certain activities, it afflicts certain parts or then my veins. So I love getting into the overall health of a person, and then you got to work with the person, because I'm not some magician that I know. I cross refer. Okay, am I saying the right thing? Okay, then this. So, and then if the person loves it, I love it, because if they're more interested, then I can give more. It's like a give and take relation.
Great. Great talking to you, Tulip,
Thank
and
you,
thanks for your time and being at ITV Gold.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you, ITV Gold. It's been so nice meeting you guys.
Pleasure.